Liberals and the left have always had a fear of right-wing totalitarianism, and the Trump administration has simply set off a new wave of books, articles, and podcasts on this very subject. The material hardly ever mentions the left-wing totalitarianism of, say, the Soviet regime or Communist East Germany, and it is very clear that the main focus is on the right-wing totalitarianism of Hitler and Mussolini. Books like Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny, How Democracies Die by Harvard professors Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblatt, Trumpocracy by David Frum, Can It Happen Here by Cass Sunstein, and The Future is History by Masha Gessen. These books tell us a number of things. Most of these authors are members of the current academic and political establishment, and they are incredibly worried about the modern order falling apart. All of these writers are Jewish, which means that we might be looking at specifically Jewish liberal fears as opposed to white liberal fears. And the sheer volume of these books that are being published now about this subject also tells us that the Jewish left establishment views a situation with totalitarianism to be an urgent matter. The fundamental mistake of all these authors, judging from reading their works and watching their interviews, is that they assume that totalitarianism is a response to economic or political stresses. Some might dabble in the whole authoritarian personality theory created by the Frankfurt School, but they miss the core causes of totalitarianism. The core causes, whether you look at National Socialism or ISIS, are a decline in social trust, rapid social change, and cultural modernization, coupled with a sense of nihilism that pervades the society because of its moral decline and the desire of its intellectual elites to deconstruct the social norms of the past. At a fundamental level, this is the reason why the left is so afraid of right-wing totalitarianism emerging at this moment. They understand that American social and moral values have completely disappeared, and that there is no common ground anymore, and that the common political and rhetorical space that all Americans once spoke and thought on is now gone and everything is up for grabs. And it is times like these where right-wing totalitarianism can take root. Many of these intellectuals are simply paranoid, viewing totalitarianism as being a lot closer at hand than the average American does. Most Americans take for granted that there will be another presidential election in 4 years, and the next 4 after that, whereas these particular intellectuals see that there might be something more revolutionary brewing within the West. They have this fear because they see the values and norms of our society begin to fall apart, while people are expressing and thinking ideas that they would not have expressed or thought in the recent past. And most of them have come to the realization as to how fragile the Western democratic order has become. Fear is a driving motivation behind modern politics. That is because politics, in large part, is about who gets what. In a world of multiculturalism and diversity, someone else's gain almost always means your loss. And they make these views explicit, and you have to wonder what they will do once they gain complete power, if ever. In the same way, the far right truly taking power would mean the absolute end of all the privileges that those on the left have built up for themselves over the past 7 decades. More than anything, modern politics has revealed the hidden war going on between various tribes globally. This war between races, religions, and political factions has been raging non-stop since the 1950s. But for the most part, we've been able to convince ourselves that this war was closer to a gentleman's duel than a street fight. The gentlemen are all now dead, and only the street fighters remain. So, what say you, white man? Isn't it time to take off your cap and pick up the brass knuckles? We cannot be gentlemen forever.